Hello, and welcome to Quackalope, where today we're going to be talking to you about a new game from Inside Up Studio called Terminus. Now, I know what you're thinking. This isn't a game about the end of the world. This is not a terminal velocity game. It is a game about underground railroads, terminals, if you will, from one location to another in a very busy city that desperately needs as much of this transportation option as possible. And you, my friends, are going to be the people to put it into play, to build it, to engineer it, to gain all the resources and lobby the people for the money necessary to make those dreams of those people come true. Let me walk you through why this game is very entertaining, and I do want to caveat this by saying we do work with Inside Up Studios, and this is an interesting option, and it is a heavier weight game than they normally put out. So if you're a lightweight player game, if this is something, if you're one of those people who are like, Ticket to Ride is good enough for me, this is not going to be the game for you. This game is a crunchy Euro full of rondelle style play management, very, very tight resources. You have to do a lot of thinking before you play your turn because every second, every move, every itty-bitty little bit of power and influence and documents and things that you've come up with, you have to have all of that set up and ready to go to be good at this game. Now, yours truly completely dominated taking second place in this game when I was able to play it with the developers. I did an amazing job at taking care of all of the resources I was using. However, I didn't always play the most effective turns on the rondelle, and I will explain to you why in a moment when we get there. But overall, I had a really great time playing this game, and I'm excited to share it with you. Now, as I've talked about, Terminus here itself is a game about building hubs and terminals for your train station, and you are going to be looking at this area here, different locations. As you can see, we've got the Townsend Hills, Knightsbridge, Upper Ward, Verdant Park, Old Cross, Chippers Row, and the Michelin Heights. And everything is color-coded because those are the areas, sort of a gerrymandered locations, if it were, where you can see that they are fitting into this particular block. And each one of these colors is very important because it relates to other things that are going to be on this map for you. The different locations are going to be part of what makes this interesting. Now, as in other games where you may have routes and things that you're trying to accomplish, at the beginning of the game, you're going to be given a card that tells you you want to have the most stops in this location or the most hubs in this location. It will give you some sort of hidden agenda that you're looking for. And throughout the game, you're able to take more of these hidden agenda cards to score more points at the end of the game. So you do have a little bit of an idea of where you're trying to go at the very beginning, but the other thing that's happening throughout this game is that there are open agendas, there are open things throughout here that will give you additional victory points. At the top here we have development cards, which are locations, say this particular area here, this particular development location wanted to go down here at this spot because it is a blue location. Now technically it could have gone over here as well, but the idea is that once you're placing it in an area that has the corresponding color. And then once you meet the objective, i.e. have a stop at that particular location, you can then take that little point off and then slot it into your board here on the side. Now throughout the game, you're going to be following the rondelle style of movement, which means you're going to take your little token here and begin movement around this rondelle area. Now, you can move as far or as little as you would like. The key with this is to make sure that you are maximizing the abilities that you have and you're taking advantage of the resources that you've been given, the ability to buy those resources, and that you're planning your complete turn ahead. Because you will have the ability to circle this rondelle 3 times in the first round, year as it were, is what they refer to it here. This game is played in only 3 years. So you'll get to circle this rondelle a total of roughly 9 times, assuming that it goes all the way through to the end. Now, your goal throughout this entire thing is obviously amassing points, and the points are scored by placing these pieces here, taking those, placing the development tiles, taking the scoring pieces off, slotting them into your board, continuing to put down additional hubs and terminals, playing these tracks throughout the board, meeting those agenda options, as well as making sure that you take the most points possible. Now, covering up areas on this board with your tracks, allowing yourself to get as far away as possible, to get the longest pieces here from one connection to another, you're going to be able to score additional victory points for those as well. Getting back to the rondelle, though, what makes this very interesting, and what I was not very good at doing, at least for the first year that I played, was making sure that I was maximizing my ability to think forward. Now, we all know that I'm not necessarily the greatest at thinking 5 or 6 moves ahead. I can get you 2 or 3 usually, but it's 5 or 6. Those people here who love those like really crunchy Euros, they're going to be thinking that 5 or 6 moves ahead. You guys are going to love this game. Because each section here, as you're moving your piece across, you'll be able to take that specific location action. Everything from being able to put down to pick up powers, to put down different development cards, to grab additional agenda cards, to be able to take these open agenda information cards here, to slot these different powers into your actual board, which will give you special powers and make your actions even more powerful. You could also buy plans, which are like the resources that you need to be able to continue to do things on your board. You'll need these blueprints here to be able to put down new terminals and hubs. You'll need the documents here to be able to purchase the rails in addition to these engineering icons, because while you have the documents necessary to be able to purchase the rails, you have to have the engineers to be able to install them. And then you're going to need power to be able to do other things on your board, such as unlock the option to be able to have more station locations and hubs and whatnot throughout the game. These resources are really ingenious in the way that you get to pick them up and play with them, because in these power icons you can see here at the top, this very first one here is only going to cost you 1 coin, but then as soon as you get ready to take the next one, well, that one's going to cost you 2 coins, and then the one after that one's going to cost you 2 coins, and then if you wanted to take the next one, it's going to cost you 3 coins. So the cost of these materials raise as they get as you purchase them, so they become more and more expensive. And if someone in front of you happens to, oh, I don't know, take something that you weren't expecting them to take, then the cost of you to purchase those items, because there is a limited window of them, becomes significantly more. And maybe, like me, you've planned 2 or 3 moves ahead and not 5 or 6, and someone manages to snap something out from underneath you that you were anticipating having enough money to do because you play very tight and close. Well, it wasn't the greatest strategy, I'm not going to lie. I could have done a lot better. But the other unique thing about this is while resources are limited, once you use them, they go back on the board. So you can benefit from this situation as well, which I, of course, never did. But someone can use those resources right before you're getting ready to purchase them and make them less expensive for you. And I hope, I really do, that happens to you in the game, because I really feel like that would have been a benefit and a boon that I could have really taken advantage of. But we all know, again, when you play games like I do, when you play to get out there and get under somebody's skin and just have a really good time and a little bit of take that element, well, you're going to get it back, and that's completely okay, and I really enjoyed that. And that, again, is what made Terminus really entertaining for me, was because there is a little bit of take that, but not in the same way that you're used to. Because by playing resources, taking resources, that does potentially mess up what other people are looking to do, and there are limited options here as well, because when you're placing these development tiles down, you have to be the first person to be able to meet that while being in the right location to be able to pick up that token. So there's lots of different things that this rondelle does extremely well. And I will tell you that playing this, if you play it multiple times, you'll have the opportunity to start truly seeing farther and farther motions ahead and be able to really take advantage of this true rondelle. The other thing that the rondelle does extremely well is it mixes different powers, different options and purchasing powers in this location, because there are some spots where you'll see here there's blue and purple actions, so I can either do this action, or this action, which is pretty awesome. So I have the ability within one space to do something I've already passed or something that's in front of me. So you can really take advantage of those different options in an extremely well thought out way. The other thing that makes this very exciting are these different options here where you can purchase them and place them into your board, load them in, and make these actions easier or potentially make playing things better. One of the things that I had on my particular mode was that I didn't have to have these construction cubes. So that took a whole level out of resources that I didn't have to worry about. Now I know what you're saying. Wait, you had less resources to worry about and you still came in second? Yes, in fact I did. Yes, in fact I did. But again, we're not focusing on my shortcomings. There's plenty of them. You could ask my wife. She has a list of them. It's very long. Please don't ask her to unravel it in the house because it takes a while to roll it back up again. Moving on though. The other fun things about this game that I found entertaining was that while I was looking at this game from a perspective of a traditional Euro, I was trying to find a way how does this game make me feel? What are the things, what are some of the callbacks, as it were, to games that I enjoy, games that I love, that make me go, yeah, this feels good. This slots into that situation. This makes me want to continue to play it more. Now, I know a lot of you are going to be thinking, oh, well, it's a train game. No, this isn't a train game. It's a terminal game because your goal is to put down terminals, not train tracks. You're not actually building out trains. You're not getting from one stop to another. You are continuing to network and pull different places together. And by saying that, that means you can actually go through other people's tracks. As you'll see here, the yellow person has built their track and gone through the pink person's location and has managed to build a terminal on the other side. That little thing right there, the ability to kind of co-op without permission, another person's terminals, was something that allowed me to actually get second place, because I was definitely vying for third very hard, and we were only in a third-player game. But the ability to be able to utilize other people's terminals and push through those locations did make it very entertaining. Now, the guys that I were playing with were playing the long game strategy from the very beginning, because I started building out very quickly, and they waited till round 2 or round 3, or year 2 or year 3, to really start putting down a bunch of terminals, and they kind of exploded at the very end, whereas I petered out at the very end. Again, not uncommon like my running abilities. But the different strategies that are available in this game make this also very interesting, because each of these development cards will have a different token on top of it. So while you may see the same development card again, even though I believe you're only putting out 14 or 15 of these development tiles each game, and I think there's something like 20 or 23 or 24 or maybe even 30 different development tiles, each one of them will have a different token on top of it the next time you go around. So that continued understanding of how you are able to take the points off of that will change each time, which is really, really exciting. The different cards that you're looking for those extra options at the end of the game, those will change obviously for each one. I do believe there's 31 of those. There will be different options here for the Lobbyists, which we didn't even talk about, but you'll have an opportunity to put Lobbyists down, which are these little people, and they will give you additional powers. Right now, the pink player has the ability to use the blue as a construction, so they can pay 1 blue for construction, which is really awesome. And you'll also have the ability to put down, say, a person here in a different area where you think someone may be building track, and if they happen to pass by that location, well, then you'll end up getting money for that, which is pretty awesome. And that's a way to stop yourself from running out of money, like some people we know who are very handsome and wear flamingo shirts. That happened to him a few times. And I want to be very clear. While I may not be the smartest person in the world, I have a great amount of fun playing games that make me feel, dumb isn't the right word, playing games that challenge me, playing games that make me think a little harder than I'm used to thinking, which again may not be a very high bar, but this game makes you think. It makes you take a second, because you can't just go bum rushing into things using a hammer for everything. You have to take your time. You have to think. You have to use your resources effectively. You've got to have the engineering pieces here, the blueprints, to be able to do this action over here, but you'll also need some of these engineering cubes along with power to be able to do this action. You'll have to have the documents to be able to do this, and you can only hold 8 resources on your player board at a time. Well, all on top of that, you have to make sure that you've used this action here to unlock your player board so that you'll have more stations and terminals available for you, so that you'll be able to actually do all the actions that you're thinking about. And don't forget, you've also got to make sure that you've got enough tracks purchased, and that those tracks were purchased at the appropriate cost, because if you run out of money, then you won't be able to play the things that you're thinking about doing. all the while trying to make sure that you're not going through the rondelle too quickly, because if you go through it too fast, your turn will be over and you will be finished, but the other players will still continue to go around until their turn is done. And I definitely had a round where I finished way before everybody else because I had to whip through one round of the rondelle because I poorly managed my starting resources, which it certainly happens. And that's another interesting thing. There are budgets given to you at the beginning of each year. So you'll have, based on the amount of stations that you've unlocked, there'll be a certain amount of money that'll be given to you. You'll also have the ability to look at the information here on top and say, oh, well, I need some extra power this turn, or I need some additional blueprints or whatever. And you'll be able to choose those starting resources because you've lobbied the city or town saying, this is what I need more of to be able to do the job that you're asking me for. Because these residents of these locations are asking for more terminals. They're asking for more options in public transport, and we here at Terminus University are doing our best to make sure that you get there effectively. Now, this game, being a tighter Euro, can definitely give you one of those situations of analysis paralysis. If you're prone to that, congratulations, you're going to love this game. I'm telling you, you're going to absolutely love this game. There's a lot to think about. There's a lot to analyze, and there's a lot to do to maximize every single move that you could possibly take. Having said that, it is still a very fun game, even if you're playing with someone who has analysis paralysis, because you're also having to think very hard about the moves that you make. So as long as you're all thinking at the same time, I think in the long run, you're still going to have an absolutely fabulous time, and you're going to feel that crunchy Euro. You're going to feel that resource limitations. You're going to feel that I have to plan for the moves that I make, because every single step that I take along this rondelle, the 3 times that I get to do for each year, definitely makes a huge difference. They've really integrated that really, really well into this game that makes it very exciting for me. And of course, the board here on the bottom is also important because, like I said, you'll have these development tiles down. You'll have the ability to place additional tracks and set up hubs and different terminals. And having those win conditions there on the bottom also make a very good, those agenda cards giving you the additional victory points at the end of the game. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about with this game is where does it slot in? Where are the things that, like, you're thinking to yourself, what do I compare this game to? Age of Steam, 18XX, I would say it's not quite as complex as 18XX, only because with 18XX there's a lot of bankruptcy and weird rules and stuff. And with Age of Steam, I think it's a little bit easier than Age of Steam, but maybe a little bit. I mean, Age of Steam is a little bit easier. This is a little bit more complex because there's a few more moving parts. But I do believe that overall it compares with the learning curve of Age of Steam. So playing this once through, unless you're really good at thinking ahead, you're probably going to need to play it at least once to get that really full understanding of what this rondelle can do. And I know I spent a lot of time talking about the rondelle, but it really is the most impressive rondelle system I have ever seen. Because in your traditional rondelle, you are limited to the actions that are on the rondelle, as far as there isn't an ability to go backwards and forwards. And again, while there technically isn't an ability to go backwards and forwards here, there are squares on here, like this one where you can do these 3 actions. There's another one over here where you could do this yellow actions or this blue action. There's another one down here where you can do the red or the yellow action. So there are ways here to, as it were, cheese the system, so to speak, and you could still make those actions count and really utilize that rondelle mechanic that they have done. This mechanism that they've created it's beautiful. It's glorious. It really is a testament to what a rondelle can be, and in my opinion should be, because it really made this game a lot of fun, and I had a really good time learning how to maximize my turns and maximize the ability that I could use this particular system. As I mentioned, wasn't very effective the first year. Definitely could have done a better job, but I got better. And I really think that this game is one of those that, like most Euro games, you're going to get better with every play that you do, and you're going to really start to see this board open up to you and the different things that you're able to accomplish. And if you've got those people in your group that just love those brain puzzles that really get you thinking, that are very tight, crunchy, excellent Euro-valued games, you are going to go crazy for this game. It definitely deserves a look. I hope that you'll take a look at it. It's definitely going up on Kickstarter shortly. Obviously, this being a prototype copy, there's a few things that might change. I know that in some of the books that we've already looked at, there's a few things that have changed in this, but I was really excited to play it. I had a very good time, really enjoyed it. Hopefully, I've set the standards for you. You understand kind of what this game is and what it's built for and how you can play the game and enjoy it and if it's the right thing for you. Is hey, look, if you're thinking that this is a simple, easy family weight game, this is not the game for you. You are not going to enjoy this game. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot of variability. There's a lot of things that you have to do very, very well to maximize your turns. Otherwise, if you are a crunchy Euro-style gamer, man, take a look at this game. I really think it might be something that deserves to be in your collection. Well, thank you guys very much. I really appreciate you all being here. Hopefully I've entertained you. Hopefully you've understand a little bit more about how bad I am at thinking style games, but how much I still enjoy them because I think of myself as a very intelligent player. And I still have a really good time losing because I want to play all the games. Now, I will say that if Inside Up had included a flamingo in this game, it probably would have been another, tenth of a point higher on my scale, but there's always next time. There could be an expansion, you never know. Anyway, thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate you all. Remember, get out and do the important thing. Whatever the case, whatever you do, get out and do the important thing. Put flamingos in your games. That's really what it's all about. Put flamingos in your what? I'm not okay. Okay, I understand. So no flamingos in the games. Evan, go ahead and you can edit that part. Don't edit that part out. Flamingos would still make it right. They do have pink characters, which is great. But yeah, anyway, thanks guys. Have a good day.